This study on educational development cooperation to accomplish the Sustainable Development Goals was conducted to establish action strategies for implementing development cooperation in basic education, which is the fourth goal of SDGs. So, what is SDGs? From 2016 to 2030, the international community, including the United Nations, must jointly implement the SDG goals, including environment, health, and education, and it refers to the new goals and performance indicators in 17 areas. SDG 4 aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, and consists of 7 targets and 3 means of implementation. A series of studies will be conducted for 6 years from 2017 to 2022. Fields of study are selected for each year, and study is conducted in conjunction with the education goals and indicators of the SDGs. In the first year of the study, the key subjects of SDG 4.1 and 4.2 that correspond to basic education were analyzed, and action strategies for education development cooperation of Korea were set up in the consideration of SDG 4.A and 4.C, which play a crucial role in the successful implementation of SDG 4.1 and 4.2. Considering all these things together, action strategies were established to implement development cooperation in basic education. Issues and challenges of basic education. Educational goals of the SDGs related to basic education include SDG 4.1, 4.2, 4.A, and 4.C, and we will briefly review the issues of basic education, focusing on the indicators and details of these 4 goals. Let's look at the issues related to early childhood education. First, it is necessary to provide early childhood education as free and compulsory education for at least 1 year before entering school, in order to secure and maintain the quality of education in the future by recognizing the holistic development and learning characteristics of children in early childhood. Second, it is necessary to measure the development and learning outcomes of children from the beginning of their lives to ensure the quality of early childhood services. Third, it is necessary to establish qualification standards for teachers, strengthen teacher education and in-service teacher training, and improve working conditions to improve the development and learning outcomes of children in early childhood. Next are the issues related to primary and secondary education. 1. It is necessary to expand cooperative partnerships to improve the quality of primary and secondary education and to strengthen the free and compulsory education system. 2. It is necessary to monitor and evaluate the curriculum and learning outcomes to ensure quality education. 3. It is necessary to provide educational facilities suitable for learning and infrastructure for utilizing ICT technology in schools, and to establish a nonviolent school environment. 4. It is necessary to recruit quality teachers with appropriate qualifications to solve the problem of teacher shortages, and to secure and maintain outstanding individuals through motivation and support for the teaching profession. 5. Education finances should be distributed fairly, multilingual and multicultural education should be strengthened, and finally, gender equality issues should be improved. 6. Support out-of-school children and youth in conflict-affected areas, out-of-school girls, and working children to attend schools. Status and characteristics of basic education by region. Let's look at the status of basic education in Asia, Africa, Latin America, and other regions in terms of quality of education and expansion of equal educational opportunities respectively. In Asia, support for basic education has been concentrated during the past MDGs period, and accessibility has been greatly improved compared to other regions. However, ensuring quality education is yet to be achieved, and support for children and youth out of school in particular needs to be expanded. In Africa, the sub-Saharan region needs the most support, and improving inequality among ethnic groups, gender, and income is preferentially required. In addition, integrated basic education support including health, nutrition, teacher training, and improvement of educational facilities and environment is needed. It was confirmed that Latin America, the Middle East, Soviet Union, and Oceania have received relatively less aid for basic education. Furthermore, selective and customized support strategies are required because there is a large gap in the level of basic education among countries, regions, and ethnic groups. Analysis of basic education development cooperation projects and types of partner countries. The study analyzed statistics of ODA projects in the field of basic education in Korea and categorized partner countries according to the level of basic education. Through the statistical analysis, it was found that Korea's ODA projects in the field of basic education were focused on educational facilities and teacher training between 2011 and 2015. However, the small budget for basic education and the lack of cooperation in the areas of educational system and policy, curriculum and evaluation, educational equity, and children and youth out of school are observed as limitations. For the typological analysis of the partner countries, 145 recipient countries were categorized according to the level of basic education, and principal component analysis and cluster analysis were conducted. According to the 7 characteristics of each partner countries, such as education opportunity, teacher quality, opportunity for lower secondary school, equity in primary and secondary education, equity in early childhood education, water supply, and sanitary facilities, the partner countries were categorized into top priority, priority, potential priority, and potential country for basic education support. The top priority countries for basic education support included 16 countries, with 4 key partner countries of Korea. The study proposed a strategy to expand educational opportunities, focused on providing support for WASH-related facilities, because all aspects of supports were urgently needed. Among the 23 countries categorized as priority countries for basic education support, Ghana was the only key partner country of Korea. And for priority countries, the study proposed a support strategy focused on teacher training and improvement of sanitation. A total of 29 countries were classified as potential priority countries for basic education support, and 11 of them were key partner countries. The study suggested that the problems of dropped out and out-of-school children and youth should be solved first. 77 countries, accounting for 52% of all analyzed countries, were identified as potential countries for basic education support. 8 key partner countries were included in potential countries, and a strategy was proposed to focus on teacher training and expanding opportunities for lower secondary education. Finally, let's look at the conclusions and policy recommendations of the study. With the vision of sustainable development around the world, the study developed a system of action strategies under the goal of successful implementation of the basic education goals and suggested policies for each area of basic education support. For areas of policy and strategy, monitoring, securing financial resources, and advocacy activities were set as the central framework of the action strategy system. And action strategies were devised for 6 key themes of basic education. Now, let's take a brief look at the policy recommendations and action strategies according to the 6 key themes of basic education and the action strategies for each of the 4 areas. The recommendations of educational system and policy are as follows. First is the diversification of public-private partnership projects and the reinforcement of the performance management. Second is strengthening selective support for conflict-affected areas and countries in crisis and vulnerable groups. The last recommendation is strengthening multi-sectoral cooperation and policy coordination to support the holistic development of children in early childhood. Next are the recommendations in terms of curriculum and evaluation. First is continuous and active participation of curriculum improvement projects in developing countries at the international level. Second is conducting assessments of learning outcomes at the international and regional levels and strengthening cooperation support in terms of software. The recommendations for educational facilities and learning environment are as follows. First is the promotion of integrated educational facility improvement projects. Second is the promotion of projects to support for ICT utilization in education programs. 3 recommendations were proposed as for the subject of teacher training. First is to support for recruitment of qualified teachers. Second is providing more motivation and support for teachers. Third is supporting the establishment of teacher training institutions and development of curriculum for early childhood education. Next are the recommendations for educational equity. First is the expansion of education welfare projects. Second is the expansion of projects to improve the academic achievement of girls in school. Lastly, these are the recommendations for out-of-school children and youth. First is providing more inclusive education in school. Second is providing educational opportunities by enhancing informal education. So far, we have looked at the contents of the first year's study. Further details of the research report can be found on the Korean Educational Development Institute website.